It's emerged this morning that Stan Kroenke has agreed to give the club a major cash injection. That is the phrase that is coming out. That is what's been put out to the media, that he's going to be giving the club a major cash injection to help the club to get through this coronavirus crisis. Now, will that major cash injection just be for, to pay staff wages and to cover, obviously, the shortfalls that are going to be happening at the club? Or does that include, as well as doing that, transfers as well? Because we all know that, we desperately want to get some new players in. But I think it's very encouraging. And, I'm a person, I like to give praise and credit where it's due. If this is true and he is going to be putting a major, and that is the word that has been used, a major cash injection into the club, then he needs to be applauded. And that is exactly the sort of leadership we want to be seeing from our owner in a time like this, when basically we are in a real crisis at the moment. So let's wait and see what happens with that. But that is good news, I think, that Stan Kroenke going to be putting his hand in his pocket and giving the club a major cash injection. He's going to be well down after this, because remember, it's not just Arsenal. He owns the Denver Nuggets basketball team. They're going to need an injection, I'm sure. He owns the LA Rams. That's the big one, because he's building a new stadium out over there in LA. I was watching the news over there in America yesterday, and they were talking about how they may not have any big gatherings for a year. So he's going to take a major hit. The timing of that new stadium couldn't have come at a worse time for him. So he's going to take a major hit with that. So the fact that he's going to be putting major money into Arsenal, again, we'll have to wait and see how major that is. And does that also help out with transfers? But definitely, that's good to see that he's doing that. And we applaud him for that. Also, there's still talk that, a lot of negotiations going on with the players about this pay cut. Now, we've spoken about this quite a lot of times. It was said that, they want the players to take a 12.5% pay cut if they don't get into the Champions League, 7.5% pay cut if they only make the Europa League. The talk is that the players are against this. They're not happy with this. They don't want to agree to it. But Mikel Arteta, the manager, has been urging the players to take this cut, and also that the owners and the players are still negotiating the possibility of this cut. The players would rather take a pay deferral, which means what a pay deferral is basically, you don't have to pay us right now, you can pay us when things pick up again. But they don't seem to be very happy with the whole pay cut circumstance. But if the owner of the club is now saying, I'm going to put money in, the execs have come out, remember, and said they're taking waiving a massive part of their wages for 12 months. Now I do think this is when it starts to come down to the players to say, well, come on, now you guys, we know you've done a lot for the NHS, and that's fantastic, but we're going to need a bit of your help now as well. So I'm liking how it's all going now. This is how it should be. The leaders leading by example, and then going down now to the players and saying, what can you do? They can't force the players to do anything, but what can you do? When those sort of things are being done, I think you're going to come to a better conclusion with this whole thing. So let's see how that one develops. Also, I'm interested about Mikel Arteta. Now, Arteta has apparently come out and said to the owners of the club that I want to fill 3 positions this summer. There are 3 key positions that I think I need to fill this summer to get Arsenal back on track. There will be some of us saying that, we need to fill more than 3 positions, but he's identified 3 key positions that he would like to fill. Now, one of those positions is a centre-back. The other one of those positions is a defensive midfielder, and the other one is as an attacker. He doesn't make it really specific whether it's a striker or whether it's just an attacking midfielder, but he says an attacker. So apparently he's gone to the board and he said, those are the 3 positions that I would like to fill. Now, obviously, centre-back, I think every Arsenal fan would love to see somebody like a Upamecano come in, that would be perfect. We've got Saliba coming in. What's going to happen with Pablo Mari? That's the other thing. And also, you know, Cedric, you know, two guys that have come in on loan. Remember, the season could still yet be completed, and we'll have to wait and see what would happen with those guys, or what's going to happen to those guys. But Upamecano would be perfect. Whether we'll have the money to do it or not, that's what we're going to have to wait and see. It could be that it's a Pablo Mari that comes in that position, but Upamecano would be perfect if he wants to fill the centre-back position. Defensive midfielder position, which he said as well, Partey would be perfect for it, but again, would cost a lot of money. But somebody like a Partey would make a great addition to that position. And, you know, could Arsenal be looking at bringing somebody like him in that position? And then there's the attacking position. Could that be Coutinho, you know, a sort of an attacking midfielder who can score a lot of goals? Or could it be, if Aubameyang went, could it be somebody like a Jovic? Although Real Madrid are making a lot of noises that they are not going to be selling him this summer. But could it be, say, somebody like him? I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with all these positions. It's going to be down to money, isn't it? It's going to come down to how much money Arsenal are going to have available to spend. But certainly if he's looking to fill 3 positions, you know, and as I said, he seems to have made it pretty clear, centre-back, defensive midfielder and an attacker. Who do you guys think those 3 players should be? Really love to hear from you guys. Who would you like those 3 players to be? And also, it's rumored that, you know, Arteta is looking to move a few players out as well. So who would he want to move out? But particularly, I'd like to hear from you in those 3 positions. Who do you think would be best suited to bring in? So centre-back, defensive midfielder, and an attacker. Those are the 3 positions he's saying that he's seeking at the moment. So let me know what you think would be the best in those positions. Another really interesting story, and just to show you that it's not just Arsenal that is going to be suffering in this period. There are other clubs. Every club's going to be suffering, but some clubs are taking a big hit. Tottenham. I couldn't believe this news when I heard this, right? Pochettino, remember, who was sacked by Tottenham. Now, he's still on gardening leave. What happens a lot of times when a manager gets sacked by a football club, you know, they got contracts. So you can't just turn around to a manager and say, right, you're sacked. See ya. Bye. They've still got a contract. So you still got to, you know, pay them off or put them on gardening leave or stuff like that. So Pochettino is apparently on gardening leave until he finds another job. He's still being paid £8.5 million a year by Tottenham until he finds a new job. Hence why he's in no rush to find a new job. You know what I mean? If he finds a job like a Man United or something that perfectly suits him, he'll take that. But he's not just rushing into anything right now because he's still being paid by Tottenham. Now, Tottenham have apparently approached him and said, could you take a pay cut? Imagine that for the player. A manager that you've sacked. You're asking, can you take a pay cut? Offer the 8.5 million. And also they're still paying his backroom staff as well, Pochettino's backroom staff. And they've had to approach them because none of them have found jobs yet and say, can you take a cut in the money that we're paying you? Now, what would you do if you was Pochettino? The club that sacked you, Daniel Levy, the person that sacked you, you know, overnight you were replaced by Mourinho. Would you take a pay cut? I don't know if I would. I'd be like, yo, I never told you to sack me. Pay up my money. But that's a really interesting story. It just gives you a real insight into how the whole sacking and transfer stuff works, you know. But wow, you know what I mean? When I saw that was unbelievable. Let's get into some of your comments. As I'm saying, who do you think would be perfect to fill those positions? Louis69 says Upamecano, Partey, and Coutinho would be lovely. So he'd go with those 3 that I mentioned. So, you know, he thinks that those 3 would be perfect. But what do you think? What do you think? MTT Ndidi and let Saka or Martinelli take the left wing slot. Okay. Remember, that's the other thing. Saka has still not been tied down on a new deal. It's interesting to see. I think it's David Ornstein today reporting that Arsenal have literally not had a chance to sit down yet with Saka because of this whole coronavirus thing to sort out his new deal. Need to get that done as soon as possible. There's teams like Borussia Dortmund and that hovering, willing to take him. We've got to get that whole Saka thing sorted out as well. Neilio here says, happy Friday, Robbie. Give me a D for Daya Upamecano, a P for Thomas Partey, and Coutinho. Only if it wouldn't put a dent in Arsenal's wage pocket, but he'd be up for those three. However, Samuel's saying get Coutinho because our midfield is rubbish since Ramsey left. So yeah, there's quite a few of you there suggesting those three. Of course, those three would be very expensive. Free, that's the thing. What sort of money is going to be available